The worst type of child servitude is bondage. When a child is sold into slavery, the child is shackled and chained in many cases, cannot see his parents, and is forced to work long hours in unsafe working conditions for little or no pay.
Craig, if I can just ask a question. Obviously, it's a cause that no one can question, but are you certain you're not being exploited by adults in any way because you run this campaign?
Actually, I'm the founder of the organization Free the Children, so I've done it totally on my own will, and it's a completely youth-run organization. So there are no other adults who have political means behind the lines trying to press us.
So what do you want him to say to Prime Minister Rao when he meets him tonight?
Basically, I want him at least to raise the issue. Forget being the Prime Minister for a second. Just simply as a Canadian, it's his moral responsibility to do this.
You tried to reach the Prime Minister
yes.
To meet him?
I have faxed and written to the Prime Minister requesting to meet with him. Unfortunately, he said his schedule was too booked and he did not have time to meet with me. We had just finished our meeting with the PM.
Yeah.
I got out most of my points. He says, well, it's a very complex issue and things like this take time, and well, we donate to the IPEC and we do quite a bit and we do this and that, we do that, which Canada does, and I'm very happy that it does that. But there's still much more that Canada has to do. So far, I'm ranking this trip a 9. This trip has been really great, and I've enjoyed it a lot. And meeting the Prime Minister wasn't half bad either.
He upstaged the Prime Minister during Team Canada's trade trip and catapulted the issue of child labor onto the national agenda. Well, today, 13-year-old Craig Kielburger came back to Canada, saying his fight is far from over.
Craig Kielburger arrived back home after his 5 countries.
But I stepped out of those doors, and I saw not only my friends and family waiting for me, but also the press. In a sad sort of way, it dawned on me that so often the press thought that young people weren't capable of doing these type of things. And I think that being young did give us an advantage.
Tour of South Asia. He went with one objective, and even he is surprised by his success.
Well, there was no question to ask that one of the reasons why the media was obviously interested in Free the Children was because it was children helping children. And, you know, to them this was a phenomenon. This was strange that children would care enough to get involved, and they didn't realize that, you know, children actually deep down inside wanted to help and wanted to participate.
There's a reason Craig Kielburger is trying to find his way through the corridors of Congress in his fight to shut down third world sweatshops full of child labor. These are the corridors of U.S. power.
You have the power in your words, in your actions, and in your policy making.
There was never a single point where it dawned on me. The press was an important tool. I think it was something that we began to realize as Free the Children evolved from simply being a ragtag group in Toronto to a group of young people around the world.
He's been essential. I mean, there have been a lot of adults who are also well-informed and who've gone and seen things firsthand or whatever, and they have not been able to draw the attention and appeal that he has.
Now, Kielburger is helping set up American chapters of his organization, working to establish labels for products not made by child labor.
It's a very, very powerful vehicle that you're creating here. If in fact you can move children in this direction to take action.
The youth group Free the Children says the Canadian government is undecided about whether to endorse the rug mark label, which ensures through factory inspections that child labor is not used in imported carpets. So today they held a press conference to introduce the label to Canada themselves.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zachary and I'm Daniel from German Mills Public School. Today we'd like to inform you about what Rugmark is. Rugmark is an internationally recognized trademark that is out to make people aware of which rugs are made with child labor. In the long run, it is also out to eliminate child labor altogether.
Whenever you buy a carpet, you're also making a symbol. You're making a symbol that you do not want children to be exploited, that you care about the children of the world, and you're willing to stand up and ensure that they have their rights.
We're kids. We don't have voting rights. We have very little rights. We're doing something that the adults should be doing to begin with. Yeah, they should just think about this. Hey, they're kids. They can't vote. They can't do half the things that they can, but yet they still are putting in this effort to end a horrible thing. Why can't the adults do that with all the rights they have? They're not using them the right way. Yeah, you know, you can take Craig as an example. Yeah. He's only like 13, 14 years old, and look what he's done.
I'm here to learn, especially from the children. And I see my roles here to learn from them and in turn to reflect what they say back to the world. The basic reason why children are being hired is because they're easily intimidated. They cannot organize trade unions that are cheaper labor. What we have to do is take these children out of employment, replace them with adult relatives, pay the adults decent wages, safe working conditions, so that their children in turn can go to school, breaking the cycle of poverty. It simply comes down to a question of political will and societal will. It's crossed the line. Cutting a meter of sugarcane, they receive only 1 cent. So hopefully, eventually, in the world, we'll see children who do not work. But at this point, they have to work to help their family, in many cases, survive. Child labor and child abuse cannot be tolerated. If it's crossed that line, if it's become exploitation, and if it's become abuse, it must be stopped. In 1990, leaders from around the world gathered together, and they drew up the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which lists the most basic rights of children, including the right to an education, the right to be protected from abuse and exploitation, the right to be treated with dignity. 7 years have passed, and yet this child abuse still continues. These children have little faith in politicians, in fancy laws, and conventions drawn up on their behalf. As children, we simply do not want to be the passive recipients of kindness. You know, sometimes with media, I do get a bit frustrated, and sometimes I would just like to kind of go off and do my own thing and just meet the kids. So then, have any of their friends ever been seriously hurt by the police or even killed? But I do realize that, you know, for every speech that I give, I can reach 100, 200, 1,000 people. But through the media, we can reach enormous numbers of people. They were shot or something by the police, does he think, or by who? The first concrete result we had was working with the law that you mentioned.
Turismo sexual.
Sex tourism.
This law was passed in Canada and 11 other countries. But here in Italy, this law does not exist. And when I met with various senators, this is one of the points that I wanted to bring up, to try to bring it here also.
What do the
Italian senators have to say?
They will definitely look into it. And I hope that means that when they look into it, they will definitely ensure that it comes to be. If no change was coming about, or if I was not doing this for a good issue, would I continue to do this? No. I am doing this for an issue which I love. And I am doing this for an issue which I care strongly about. And that's the reason why I do it. That's what makes it all worthwhile. As long as the media present the facts truthfully, as long as they act responsibly, then I think the media is doing a wonderful job. Then they will present the issue, and that will challenge people to take action. How much are you paid per day on average working here?
Quanto é que ganha por dia trabalhando?
at Free the Children are receiving thousands of letters from children around the world saying, tell me what I can do to get involved. I want to help to change the world.
What we have to do is take that money, invest it in education, invest it in job training skills to help these street children.
Okay, everybody knows that, but nobody does nothing here in Brazil.
Well, it's a question of taking steps.
That's the problem.
Meeting these children, I learned from that. You know, that's their gift to me. And then in turn, going to the media and taking their voice and repeating what they say, acting as a funnel for what they say. That's my gift to them. I want to be able to give them something. And I can't always promise them that we'll create a project in their neighborhood. I can't always promise them that their government will bring about a change, but at least it's a little thing which I can do. Your Holiness, over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to meet children who work in exploitative and abusive conditions. How can these children grow up to be peaceful when all they've ever known is violence?
There is, I think, possibility to change this. Society must accept this part of our society and must bring into society with sense of caring.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we grab a quick photo, Your Holiness? Thank you, sir.
If you had healthcare and if you had education, then it would be different. It would be different for everyone in Brazil.
I think some adults are threatened by people like Craig. Let's get our plan ready for today. And while you do that, I'll read announcements. Students, Craig has brought to light an issue that society in general has chosen to sweep under the rug. For some people, when they're involved in an indirect way, like some of the major manufacturers and other interested groups, it's embarrassing for them, and I guess they'd rather not have somebody like Craig expose some of the things that have been going on. I sometimes feel a bit sorry for Craig because he has many things going on at the same time. He does a wonderful job of balancing all of them, but there are so many things going on.
It's a normal household, but at the same time, not every household has 50 young people running through it for a barbecue and preparing for a conference dealing with the elimination of child labor. So it's the normal household where you have the fun, the studying for homework, the young people coming for pizza parties. At the same time, you have the other side of it, where it's an office. It's where Free the Children is run. So, you know, it's a whole family effort. And because of that, everyone loves what they do, and everyone believes in what they're doing.
Good morning, Free the Children. Laura, how are you? It's Mark Kilberger speaking.
I'm Fred, Craig's dad. And at the moment I'm providing moral support. I pick up, I help out, I do whatever has to be done. I guess that's essentially it. You know, we can be very cynical and think that the world is a mess. But on the other hand, young people who have that idealism and who are not cynical as we tend to become in life, they then can rally their peers, their people of their own age, to take a hand then in trying to change the world for the better.
are some people out there who simply look at Free the Children and say, oh, it's a phase, it won't do anything. You know, it's just a bunch of young people. They'll change and move on to a next phase in a matter of a few weeks. And the funny thing is, you know, 2 years later, we're stronger than ever. Last week, we got over 500 letters from the United States alone. Never mind, you know, those letters from Poland and Chile and Hong Kong and Singapore.
How did you get started in it? Well, I knew about it from my older sister who was in it the year before I started. And when my school, they started it and they asked who would like to be a part of it. Craig came and he spoke just to our class. It was more of like a discussion almost. And everybody really liked what he was saying, but nobody wanted to give up their time to do it. I think it's been really hard to do like fundraising and things. You think like each thing will take you a day, so you plan many things, but in actual fact they take like a week to plan, and then you want to keep it going.
Yeah, we've had bake sales that have gone on, and those have really helped because people will just volunteer and bring in baked goods, and then those will sell really quickly.
If you brought in a buck, you could get a free jeans day, and we raised like $2,000 doing that.
Even pressuring with the government fits into the same category.
Of course we are children, and we don't have all the answers, and we're trying to learn.
And what would be some ideas?
And the only way that we can gain credibility is if we know the issue inside out.
Write letters, asking if they're using child labor.
If we look into our own lives and we ask the hard questions, look at our country's policies, you know, are trading policies fair? Why are these multinational corporations going into developing countries and paying wages that these people can't even survive on? They have to send their children out to labor.
Maybe like pairing up with Doctors Without Borders, or and getting them food like every day, like getting them.
Why does the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, bodies which are controlled by the rich countries, force industrializing and poor countries to cut their social services to the absolute bone and to cut money away from the education and healthcare of children? It's because of our decisions here in the North also.
A few weeks later, Craig was able to get away from the glare of the spotlight for once.